Welcome to the show. It is your WWE Raw recap for Monday, February 22nd. Is Bobby Lashley your next WWE champion? Ric and Charlotte Flair cut one hell of a promo. And what was the match of the night tonight? Let's get to Monday Night Raw. All right, what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me here tonight on the show. No Johnny. I think everything's good. Perfect sound, everything's good. We had some technical difficulties last night, but I just got the thumbs up from the production team, so we're good. I'm rolling solo here tonight. I am Dave Simon, your main man, with you all the time for all the WWE action. We saw a lot tonight on Monday Night Raw. We're going to break it down here, give a shout-out to the members, become a member of the team. Craig Paquette in the chat. What's up, Craig? Craig is Renee Paquette's cousin, he says, which is pretty cool. What's up, Craig? What's up, Douglas Hepburn? He says, somebody wake Johnny up. That's what I'm saying. Johnny was tweeting for the show at North Genesis. You can follow my main man. He's a great guy, my co-host, usually on the wrestling side, and, of course, a great pro wrestler. But Johnny was watching Raw tonight. I know that. Were you guys watching Raw tonight, or are you just waiting for this show? I know a lot of people don't watch Raw. They just want to watch me recap the show. Patrick C. Hamilton in the chat as well. Patrick is a member. Don't forget to become a member. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe, click the bell so you get notifications every time that we are on. And we are on right now. Bobby Lashley, big night for Roberto, right? Last night, he helps The Miz beat up Drew McIntyre after the Elimination Chamber, allowing The Miz to cash in his Money in the Bank and become the new WWE Champion. So you know Bobby Lashley wanted a little bit of payback, a little bit of compensation from The Miz. He wanted a WWE Championship match. John Morrison introduces The Miz at the top of the show. Miz cuts a promo talking about being in the WWE for 16 years and nobody wanted him there and people still don't want him there. And yeah, I don't really want him there. He says he's better than Batista or John Cena because they're off. They're not around anymore. Or Triple H or Daniel Bryan, Bobby Lashley, and even Edge. Miz says that none of those guys measure up to him, which is, I mean, if you're paying attention, ridiculous. Miz goes on and on about deserving the championship. Bobby Lashley and MVP finally show up. They say Miz owes them a debt, and they are here to collect. As you saw, MVP was backstage with The Miz. Last night at the Chamber, seemed like he was setting something up, trying to convince The Miz to cash in as part of this plan with Bobby. It worked out. Bobby and MVP coming to collect the debt. They want a title shot. Miz says that he did admit, he admitted that he promised Bobby a title shot. However, he says he needed time. He wasn't ready. He wanted to be at his best when it was time for the title match. Bobby Lashley gets mad and says, "You have 1 hour to give me my title match or else." And that was the opening promo of Raw. So now we're in a countdown, an hour countdown, to find out what's going to happen with Bobby Lashley and The Miz. And we could skip ahead here. I'll get to the Matt Riddle-Morrison match and Bad Bunny and so on. But we got to get to the big promo with Adam Pearce and Shane McMahon. So an hour later, Adam Pearce is in the ring again with MVP, Bobby Lashley, Miz and Morrison show up. So we start the top of the show at 8 p.m. with a Miz, Morrison kind of. I mean, Morrison's just a sidekick for The Miz at this point. Even though he's a far better wrestler, he's just a sidekick. He's like Alex Riley and Damian Sandow were for The Miz, right? He's just a sidekick. The Miz, for some reason, gets human props. For some reason, the WWE invest so much in The Miz that they're willing to pay men full wrestling salaries to just be props for The Miz, just be his sidekicks. And it's not like those guys get over being The Miz's sidekick. Just ask Alex Riley and Damian Sandow. Where are they now? After the run with The Miz is over, Miz beats them, and they disappear forever. Hopefully that doesn't happen to poor John Morrison. Just Miz's old sidekick. He's the new Alex Riley. How does that sit with you? So another promo. Adam Pearce, MVP, Bobby Lashley, Miz and Morrison. This is the second hour now of Raw. Miz says he needs more time. He's not ready for the match. Bobby's dressed to compete. Miz shows up in a suit. Commentary's like confused. Like you really thought Miz was going to say, oh, okay, let's just have the match now. Miz says other guys want a shot, like John Morrison. MVP's like, well, you don't have a deal with those other guys. They didn't help you win the championship. Solid point from MVP. Miz says he needs more time. Braun Strowman shows up. He says he's more clarified than Bobby Lashley for the title shot. He was trying to say qualified, but he didn't quite get there. He said clarified. He's butter. I don't know what's going on with Braun Strowman. He's clarified. He's clear. He's more clear than Bobby Lashley to become WWE champion, or at least number one contender. Shane McMahon shows up. Big fake Shane O'Mac chant echoing throughout the empty arena. Say that again. A big Shane O'Mac chant, bigger than any of their contracted wrestlers, bigger pop than anybody. Shane McMahon, the son, the 50-year-old son of the billionaire owner of the WWE, gets big Shane O'Mac chants when he comes in to the ring. And he's there for no apparent reason. Adam Pearce is kind of in charge of Raw and SmackDown, but it seems like Shane McMahon, over the past 3 weeks, he was there 3 weeks ago, he's back tonight, he's like a higher power because he's a McMahon, which makes sense, I guess. It's the WWE, but they haven't really explained Shane's role on TV other than he makes matches. And he's really over with the fake crowd. Shane says Miz versus Bobby is going to take place next week on Raw, despite what Braun Strowman wants. Braun says he wants a title match tonight. Shane says he doesn't like that idea. So Shane and Braun have something going on, right? You know this is building towards something for WrestleMania because I guess it was two weeks ago on Raw. It wasn't last week. It was the week before because Braun was he disappeared last week. But 2 weeks ago, Braun Strowman reemerged on Raw, and he was all in Adam Pearce's face about Shane McMahon and getting mad at Shane McMahon and saying, oh, if he doesn't get what he wants from Shane McMahon, there's going to be big problems. So Shane and Braun have some sort of issue that really is not clear, not clarified. Maybe Braun could clarify that for me. Braun wants a title match. Shane's not into it. Braun says, okay, well then let me wrestle Bobby. Shane likes that idea and says, well, if you could beat Bobby, you will be inserted into the title match next week. It'll be Braun versus Bobby versus Miz for the WWE title. Braun is good with that. He likes that idea. As he's telling Shane that he likes that idea, Bobby chop blocks him, drops Braun, and exits the ring. Still no mention of the guy who's held the title for like a year, Drew McIntyre. They kind of said his name, but not in that promo. Commentary kind of mentioned him a couple of times. It's clear he's going to show up at some point. Didn't show up tonight, but hey, there's a WWE title match next week, right? Skip to the end so we can continue this fantastic Miz storyline. Because everybody likes to see a wrestling show revolving around The Miz. One of the least believable wrestlers they have. The main event was believable as hell. it was Bobby Lashley versus Braun Strowman. This was a good match. Two big guys with a sense of urgency, throwing each other around the ring, hitting each other hard. There was something on the line. There was a title match on the line, at least for Braun. Bobby just trying to keep Braun out of his title match. But this was a good, solid main event. Bobby and Braun delivered. When Braun picked Bobby up and just threw him out of the ring, that was really impressive. Who's doing that to Bobby Lashley? That's the cool thing about putting Braun up in a match with Bobby, because then you see things that you wouldn't expect. You see things that you don't see when Bobby Lashley is wrestling, Matt Riddle or even Keith Lee or any of the other members of the roster, because Braun is so big. And Bobby's so big and so strong that he can do things to Braun that very few guys can do. On the WWE roster, look up and down. Who is going to pick up Braun in a suplex, a vertical suplex position? I mean, he picked him up. Bobby put him back down because that was the spot, and then Braun hit him and took him off his feet. But Bobby could have vertical suplexed Braun Strowman. He had him up. That is ridiculous strength. I don't know how many guys in WWE could do that to Braun Strowman. I was impressed by that match. I thought that was a good match, and the finish was solid. Boom, boom. Bobby hits the spear. 1, 2, 3. They had a good false finish. When Braun hit the power slam, you thought it was over. Braun hits the power slam. 1, 2. Bobby kicks out. Miz is all shocked. We're all shocked. I was surprised. I thought Braun Strowman was for sure going to win this match tonight, because usually in the WWE, if you have a match with something on the line and the other guy has nothing on the line, the guy with something on the line is going to win, because that's the whole reason you made the match. But instead, they didn't go that way, which was a surprise. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect Bobby to win. I didn't expect Bobby to win clean. I thought there would have been some sort of outside interference, some sort of distraction finish. MVP was outside of the ring but had no impact on the finish of the match. Bobby just beat Braun. Hit him with a spear. 1, 2, 3. Miz was on commentary, had no impact on the finish of the match. Drew McIntyre didn't interfere like you thought he might. It was a solid main event. I can't complain about that match. I'd say it was match of the night. I really liked it. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know what you guys thought was match of the night. I see Mako on the chat. I see Franco, Bob Cote, AJ. I know AJ's not watching Raw. I know AJ. That's my man. What did you guys think was match of the night? I thought it was Bobby and Braun in the main event. So Bobby beats Braun, hits the spear, attacks Braun after the match, which I think is a bad move. You beat him, Bobby. Do you really want to upset the man to the point where he wants revenge when you have a title match on Raw next week? You know what I'm saying? I don't think you should do that. So I think, Braun is probably going to get some sort of revenge because Lashley put him out. Lashley beat Braun up after the match, put him in the Hurt Lock, the full Nelson gimmick. And for some reason, Braun Strowman passed out from the pain, which, if you know anything about grappling, you can hurt a guy's neck by putting a guy in a full Nelson, but you're not going to make him pass unconscious. That is crazy. It's not a chokehold. It's a full Nelson. I mean, it's a little ridiculous, but it's wrestling. You got to suspend disbelief, I guess. But Bobby is an MMA fighter. He's got a good record. He knows that you're not passing out. I mean, you might pass out from the pain from Bobby's Hurt Lock, I guess. I might. The guy's huge. He'd probably just break my neck, though, right? Anyways, so Braun got beat up. Miz took that opportunity to try to attack Bobby Lashley for some reason, get some advantage for next week. And it didn't work. Bobby hit him with a spine buster and then hit him with a spear, and Bobby stood tall, looked super strong at the end of Raw. Almost makes you believe that he's going to be the next WWE champion, doesn't it? But then you think of all the outside factors, and you know that the WWE gave you a clean finish main event this week on Raw, and it's the WWE. What are the odds of them giving you a clean finish main event next week, where Bobby just spears Miz and beats him in 5 minutes? Like, what are the odds? 100-1? You got Braun Strowman that just got beat up after the fact tonight. He's going to want revenge on Bobby. You got Drew McIntyre, who's the ex-WWE champion, who won the Elimination Chamber and then got beat up by Bobby Lashley, which caused Miz to then cash in and have the advantage and beat him in that match and become champion. So there's a lot of people gunning for Bobby Lashley right now. Not just The Miz, who he has a title match against, but Drew McIntyre and, of course, Braun Strowman after tonight. So you know that next week we're not going to have a clean finish. Something's going to go down. Either Braun will get revenge or Drew will show up, or both. Right? Probably both. And then we set up a fatal four-way for maybe Fastlane or Mania. I don't know. Maybe just Fastlane. You take the title off Miz at Fastlane. You put it on Drew or Bobby, and you just do Drew-Bobby one-on-one at Mania. You still do Miz Morrison versus Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. You do Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. Otherwise, you have The Miz in a main event match at WrestleMania, which, you know, I'd rather see him in there with Bad Bunny. Although, I don't know what Bad Bunny's wrestling ability is. Who knows what that match is going to be? I'd kind of like to see Bad Bunny versus Miz one-on-one for the WWE title. Put the 24/7 title versus the WWE title, unify the belts. I'm kidding, but it would be pretty funny if they did that. Just a Raw match. Just do it. Have interference. You don't have to have a clean finish there. I mean, you imagine, think of the ratings, pal, right? Think of the ratings. You start the show, Bad Bunny challenges for the WWE title, and then you end, and it's like, okay, main event is Bad Bunny, the 24/7 champion, versus The Miz, the WWE champion. People would tune in for that, I think. Bad Bunny's got a ton of fans. There's a reason why he's on the show. I think people would tune in for that. Do Bad Bunny versus Miz for the title. Just the fact that you put Bad Bunny in a WWE title match, people would go bananas. Do it on Raw. I dare you. They're not going to do it. So, Bobby versus Miz next week on Raw. I have very low expectations for an actual finish there. What else happened on Raw? What was your match of the night, guys? I'm not seeing a lot of match of the nights. I don't know if anybody actually watched Raw. Like, that's the thing. I think a lot of people just don't even watch Raw. You guys are just depending on me to tell you what was good and what was bad. Matt Riddle and John Morrison was pretty good up until the Bobby Braun match. I would probably give my match of the night to John Morrison and Matt Riddle. We had some solid matches, though. Some good contenders for match of the night tonight on Raw. The problem is the long promos with Miz or Drew McIntyre or, you know, whoever is cutting promos basically on the show. The promos are not very good. The actual in-ring content, the actual wrestling on Raw is not that bad. And sometimes it's very good. Like Matt Riddle and John Morrison had a hell of a match for the U.S. title. It was the opening match of the night. Riddle gave Morrison a fisherman suplex on the apron just before the commercial break. That was their commercial break bump to kind of sell and go to commercial. That was a hell of a thing to do. Not something you see very often in the WWE. A fisherman suplex. First of all, not many guys are hitting fisherman suplexes, which I think is a great move. Of course, the Perfect Plex was a fisherman suplex, Mr. Perfect. But Riddle hitting it on John Morrison, you know, it's an unusual move these days in WWE, or even in pro wrestling. You don't see a lot of guys hitting fishermans. And he hit it on the apron, which is like nasty. So I was impressed by that. I thought the match overall was good. I think John Morrison is a very talented wrestler. I think Matt Riddle is really coming into his own. They had a solid U.S. title match. I have reasonable expectations. I was going to say high hopes, but I have hopes for Matt Riddle as U.S. champion. I think he's going to do good stuff. If it's going to continue like what we saw tonight, I think he's going to do really good stuff because the Riddle-Morrison match is really good. It's just not clear who Matt Riddle feuds with next. I don't think it's going to be a Morrison program. I don't really know where he goes. Maybe Keith Lee when Keith Lee returns. I don't know. But then, like, Keith Lee is a babyface and Matt Riddle's a heel. But that doesn't seem to matter at all. Because if you look at the show tonight, a lot of heels versus heels, babyfaces versus babyfaces. Like, is Braun Strowman a babyface or a heel? Because it feels to me like he's a heel and he wrestled Bobby Lashley, who's also a heel. We had another one of these matches tonight where I was like, who's the heel here? Oh, yeah. No, it was who's the babyface? It was, yeah, because Naomi and Lana beat the Sexy Muscle Friends, and I wasn't sure who it was two babyface tag teams wrestling each other. It's kind of weird. I like the Sexy Muscle Friends. I just like that name for them. I don't know why WWE didn't go with it. For a time, it looked like they were calling Mandy and Dana the Sexy Muscle Friends. It's a name that Asuka came up with for them, but I don't know if it's catching on. I feel like Mandy and Dana didn't want to go with it, which, I don't know. Or WWE didn't go with it, I'm not sure, but it didn't pick up. I'm still calling them the Sexy Muscle Friends in the hopes that they'll bring it back, that they will bring it and use it. Because just Dana and Mandy, it's not a great tag team name. If you want to be a legit tag team, you have to have a tag team name. And a good tag team name always helps, like the Sexy Muscle Friends. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest did a backstage interview. R-Truth was kind of lurking in the shadows with a referee, trying to get the 24/7 title back maybe, but Damian Priest saw Truth and called him on it. Truth was like, no, I like Bad Bunny. He helped Michael Jordan beat the Monstars in Space Jam. That was Bugs Bunny. It was Bugs Bunny, Truth. Priest didn't like that, got in Truth's face. He said his name is Bad Bunny. Truth ran away. It wouldn't be all from the 24/7 title crew and Bad Bunny, as we had Damian Priest beating Angel Garza, pinning Garza. Garza was distracted by Bad Bunny, who was trash-talking him outside the ring. I found it interesting that Garza and Bad Bunny, who both seem to not have English as their first language, like they're both Spanish guys that speak English with an accent, you know? I was surprised they were speaking English to each other during a trash talk. Like, wouldn't two guys like that speak Spanish to each other? Why were Angel Garza and Bad Bunny trash talking to each other in their, like, semi-broken English? Like, they both speak English pretty well, but, like, not. Like, you hear Garza have a promo, and it's like, all right, there's an accent there. Not like Andrade. Andrade has more of an accent, but I would have thought that Garza and Bad Bunny would have talked trash to each other in Spanish, and it would have kind of had a more truthful feel to it. It didn't feel that real. And then Damian Priest won after the distraction. Priest didn't look awfully strong in this match either. He seemed to only win because Bad Bunny was there ringside distracting Angel Garza. Like Garza almost had Bad Bunny or Damian Priest beat. I don't know about that. And then, of course, Akira Tozawa, Humberto Carrillo, and Drew Gulak all came out after the match, but got taken out by Damian Priest and Bad Bunny. As Priest took out Tozawa and Humberto, Drew Gulak ran at Bad Bunny, and Bunny just kind of tossed him over the top rope, and Drew Gulak went flying. Don't forget to support our sponsors here on the Ringside Report Network. They help keep us going. We appreciate you supporting our sponsors. They appreciate you supporting them. It all works. Douglas Hepburn says, probably Lashley versus Strowman best match. Yeah, I agree. We'll talk about Retribution as well. He says Retribution is done. Yeah, I think they are. I think they finally given up on that idea, which is good because I'm done with Retribution as well. I was never into Retribution. Like, as soon as they came out with those stupid names, Mace and T-Bar and all that shit, I was like, come on. We had to sit through a Peacock ad for the Punky Brewster TV show. That's part of the new WWE deal with the Peacock Network or the Peacock app or whatever. WWE Network's now on Peacock. Peacock! And that's actually good for me and my fellow Canadians because before, NXT didn't air on Wednesday nights here because NXT didn't have a TV deal here in Canada, so it would air on the WWE Network, but it would only air like the next day or the next week or something. I don't know. It was really hard to find NXT for Canadians, but now it's going to be way easier because it's going to start airing on the Sportsnet 360 channel, same channel that airs all the WWE shows here in Canada. Excuse me. They're going to air NXT Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. opposite AEW. That also airs Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. here on the other sports channel in Canada. So the two sports channels are going to be running wrestling on Wednesday nights here. Finally, we're going to get a taste of the Wednesday Night Wars. We're going to be able to watch kind of going back and forth Dynamite and NXT on a Wednesday night, which is cool for us Canadians because I've been kind of jealous of the Americans being able to do that. And that's, I think, due to NXT going to the Peacock app, or like NXT's going back to the WWE Network, like they're not going to be on USA Network anymore, I think. And I think that's why we're getting it on TV now again, live on Wednesdays. I'm not really sure. Somebody that knows more about this stuff could inform me, but I think it's related to the Peacock thing because it's like all of a sudden, why now are we able to get the NXT show here live on Wednesday nights in Canada? Douglas Hepburn says, Dave using the old Howard Stern tricks. I don't know what that means. Explain to me what that means, Doug. Doug is a member on the channel. We appreciate you, Doug. Become a member. Go to donate.ringsidereport.net to become a member. Buy us a coffee. Become a member of the team. You can also become a member here on the YouTube channel. What old Howard Stern tricks? I'm not... I mean, AJ kind of is like... I would say Baba Booey, but that's giving him too much credit. I would say AJ's more like my Beetlejuice at this point. Or Hank the Angry Drunken Dwarf, or Crackhead Bob, or any number of the Whackpackers. He's actually a lot like Sal, actually. If you're a Howard Stern a viewer or listener, AJ is very much Sal. If you know Sal, AJ is like similar in many ways. Oh, Peacock. Did Howard Stern used to do that? Peacock, so he could get away with saying cock on the radio when he was on WNBC. AJ is Sal. See, Franco agrees. He really is Sal Governale. That's who AJ is on the show. That's his role. Not as many penis tricks, though, AJ. AJ doesn't do the penis tricks like Sal. Anyways, back to Raw. Thank God he doesn't do the penis tricks, to be honest. I don't want to see that shit. That'd be awful. New Day beat Mace and T-Bar. Kofi hit his Trouble in Paradise on T-Bar for the win. Mustafa Ali cut a promo after the match talking about how embarrassed he was by Retribution. I mean, they're embarrassed to be in Retribution, Mustafa. You're the only one not wearing a mask. They're all hiding their face and came under different names. They all changed their names when they joined the group. They seem to be more embarrassed than you are to be in this thing, dude. They changed their name to Mace and T-Bar, and they put masks on. Mia Yim changed her name to Reckoning, and she put a mask on. That's how embarrassed they are to be in this shitty Retribution group. They should be cutting promos on you, Mustafa Ali, about how embarrassed they are to be in this go-nowhere group. They should all be embarrassed, really. Mustafa was disgusted. He says he's carried them all, and they keep failing over and over again. And I think Retribution's done. I don't know. Reckoning was back, by the way. Mia Yim, she's had like COVID problems. She had COVID problems. She had COVID, right? And she's also Keith Lee's fiance, but Keith Lee's still not back. So I don't know what the deal is with Keith Lee. He wasn't on the pay-per-view. He wasn't on Raw last week, which led me to speculate that he wouldn't be on the pay-per-view, and then he wasn't on the pay-per-view. John Morrison replaced him in that match. Still no Keith Lee tonight. But Reckoning was back. And I think Retribution's done. And come on, let's be honest. Aren't we done with Retribution? I'm done with Retribution. I'm not interested in watching Retribution anymore. The group has not been good since they revealed the members. Like, at first when Retribution started, it was kind of cool because it was like a million guys and you didn't know what was going on. You didn't know who was who. And then as soon as they came out, and they're like, I'm Mace and I'm T-Bar, and they started cutting those awful promos about, I mean, who knows what the hell they were saying. Retribution has been awful since they got started in earnest. Since they really started, they've sucked. So, yeah, please get rid of them. Just disband them, disappear half of them, bring them back under their real faces and real names. I mean, T-Bar or Mace, which one was Donovan, what's-his-face? The guy who had those great matches in NXT with Keith Lee. It's T-Bar, right? T-Bar? T-Bar Retribution. Dominic Dijakovic. It's T-Bar. That guy's a good wrestler. He's a big guy. He's like tall. He's billed at 6'7". He's at least 6'5". 33 years old. Talented wrestler. Had great matches, again, with Keith Lee in NXT. Kick-ass matches. Keith Lee gets to come up from NXT as Keith Lee. Dominic Dijakovic comes up as goddamn T-Bar. And Mace, Mace is, what's his name? He used to be on commentary for Raw. Mace Retribution. What was his name again? Fucking Mace Retribution. Mace was Dio Madden. His real name is Brennan Williams. Brennan Marcel Williams. He's a big guy, too. Two big guys. They got promise, and they just saddle them with this terrible, terrible gimmick. Terrible faction. You knew from the start it would suck. You knew it. As soon as they came out in those stupid masks with those stupid names, you're never going to take a wrestler named Slapjack seriously. You're never going to take a wrestler named T-Bar or goddamn Mace. Maybe Mace. Maybe. But Reckoning, you're not doing Mia Yim any favors. You could have brought Mia Yim up as just a solid part of your women's division, given her a tag team partner, helped that division maybe. There's a lot of stuff you could have done with Mia Yim that don't involve putting a mask on her and calling her Reckoning. It's awful. She was fine as Mia Yim. He was fine as Dominic Dijakovic. But they had this big idea for this big angle because they had to pop the rating, and this is the best they came up with. Retro-fucking-bution. And now we're done with it. Because Mustafa, who used to be Mustafa, I don't know what happened, but everybody's calling him Mustafa, so I'm going with it. He is embarrassed. We're all embarrassed for you, Mustafa, because you're a hell of a wrestler, too. That's the problem. He's a really good wrestler. He can cut a promo. He can talk. And this is what they saddle him with. This garbage Retribution. Fucking joke. At least he was the leader, but didn't do him any favors. Because the group is going to disband. And then what are the chances that any of them have of survival? This is what upsets me about it. Is that these are not just like commodities that you can just toss aside. These are human beings that work their entire lives to get to the WWE, to be on Raw. You don't think Dominic Dijakovic has wanted to be on Raw? You don't think Mia Yim has wanted to be on Raw her whole life? And then she's on Raw, and she's reckoning, and she's in a mask, and it sucks. And you know it's not going to work, and it doesn't work. And then what? You toss her back to NXT as Mia Yim? I mean, maybe in her case, you just say, all right, forget it, take the mask off, you're Mia Yim, you'll debut in 2 weeks. But what about the rest of them? Will Mace ever get a shot again? Will Slapjack? Will T-Bar? Will Mustafa? Or will they say, oh, well, we gave him this great angle. This was good shit, pal. We gave you Retribution. You failed. Right? Maybe he'll be blamed for it. It's bad. It's bad TV. And we have to sit through it. I mean, that's really what pisses me off. Not just for those guys, but what about me? I have to watch this shit. Retribution. Blech. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin had a hell of a match with the Lucha House Party. That was a good, solid wrestling match. Solid. Even New Day against Mason T-Bar was a decent wrestling match. I liked the Cedric and Shelton Lucha House Party match a little bit better. It was a tornado tag team match for some reason, which means no tags, everybody in the ring at the same time, which if you're familiar with Lucha Libre wrestling, that's kind of how they do it a lot of the times. So I thought the Lucha House Party would win, and commentary really should have explained that a little bit better. They could have done a better job of doing that. They could have had Lucha House Party win. It wasn't for the tag team titles. If Lucha House Party can't beat the champs in a non-title match, when are they going to beat the champs, right? Never. And they're one of your most talented in-ring tag teams that you have. Tremendous team. And they're just jobbers, right? They're a very good tag team. Grand Metalik is one of the best performers in the WWE. He is like if you're going pound for pound professional wrestlers in WWE, he's probably top 5. He might be top 5. He's definitely top 10. As far as you watch his work, you see what he does in the ring. Tell me Grand Metalik isn't one of the better wrestlers in the WWE today. He's ridiculous. And, he's just a job guy. He's just a body for the WWE. It's too bad. They had a good match, but, lucha-style match like this, commentary could have said, this is kind of lucha libre style, no tags. This plays into the hands of Lucha House Party, and then they win the match, Because they're one of the very few tag teams you have on Raw. Who are your tag teams on Raw? You got Cedric and Shelton. You got the New Day. But Cedric and Shelton took the belts from New Day, right? So Mace and T-Bar are there, but are they still there? Because Retribution seems like they're breaking up. Very few tag teams on Raw. Miz and Morrison were a tag team, but Miz is the WWE champion now. So do you have more than 2 legitimate tag teams on Raw? You have Cedric and Shelton. You have the New Day. The third best tag team on Raw right now is the Lucha House Party, and they can't even win a match that's in their style. WWE should just unify their tag team titles because both divisions, Raw and SmackDown, I've been saying this for years now, both divisions are weak. They're shallow. Very few teams in either division, Raw or SmackDown. The women's tag team titles are unified. When you're the women's tag team champions, you could go to Raw or SmackDown. Why couldn't we do that for the men? I don't get it. Because the talent pool is shallow as hell. And it's shallow on SmackDown too. You've got Ziggler and Rude. You've got Otis and Gable, who are the job tag team, who lose every time. And you got the Street Profits. You got 3 tag teams on both brands. It's not a division. It's a feud with a job tag team in the middle. It's not good. I really like Lucha House Party. I feel like people in pro wrestling don't give enough credit to the Lucha House Party. Nia and Shayna beat Asuka and Charlotte. Nia hit a leg drop on Asuka for the pin. Charlotte accidentally kicked Asuka in the head. So Shayna had Asuka in a chokehold thing. Charlotte went to kick Shayna, but Shayna ducked out of the way. Charlotte kicks Asuka, drops her. Big boot, which allows Nia to take advantage, hit a leg drop on Asuka, and pin her. And then Charlotte was kind of looking at Asuka, who was down and hurt, and she just kind of threw her hands up in the air and was like, oh, I've had it. I'm done with you. And then as she was walking away from Asuka, she kind of looked back, and they cut away from it really quickly to go to something backstage. But Charlotte looked back, and she looked at Asuka, but also looked at the WrestleMania sign. So I think that's a bit of foreshadowing for Charlotte versus Asuka at WrestleMania. I think that's where they're headed, because the Lacey Evans thing is out the window. I think it was probably going to be Charlotte versus Lacey for Ric Flair's love and the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania, but now that Lacey's pregnant, they got to do something else. They have to pivot. So Asuka didn't lose the Raw Women's Championship to Lacey Evans last night like she was going to a week ago until the WWE found out Lacey was pregnant. So now you have to do something with Asuka, and you still want, you got to do something with Asuka because she's the champion, unless you want to take the title off of Asuka before Mania, put it on somebody else. But Charlotte has to be involved in the big match at WrestleMania because she's Charlotte Flair. She's the Hulk Hogan, the John Cena, whatever you want to say, the Roman Reigns of this division. So there's going to be a big match for Charlotte, and right now without Lacey, I think it's going to be Asuka. Again. I don't really see what else they do. I think Charlotte versus Asuka makes a lot of sense. The way they had a tag team. You knew even when Charlotte started teaming with Asuka, when Asuka brought her in as her mystery tag team partner, you're like, okay, they're going to have a little run as tag team champions, but at the end of this, they're going to break up and feud. And then the whole Lacey Evans thing caught fire, and I think Asuka was just going to be a forgotten piece. But now, she's going to probably wrestle Charlotte at Mania. No one in the WWE has benefited more from pregnancies not their own more than Asuka. Right? Asuka was gifted the WWE Raw Women's Championship last year when Becky Lynch became pregnant all of a sudden, couldn't be champion anymore. Asuka won the Money in the Bank. Turns out, oh no, it's just the title because Becky's pregnant. And now, Asuka was probably going to lose that Raw Women's title that she got because Becky was pregnant. She was probably going to lose it to Lacey. Lacey's pregnant. Asuka gets to keep the belt and probably face Charlotte at Mania for the belt. That's pretty crazy. No one is benefiting more than Asuka from other people's pregnancies. Good God Almighty. Crazy. So, Charlotte wasn't done. She had a hell of a night. Promo of the night for sure. Segment of the night. Thing of the night. Whatever you want to call it. This was the best thing on Raw. The Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair promo. Best thing on Raw by far. Sheamus and Jeff Hardy had a match, by the way, just before this promo that was really good. They kicked the shit out of each other. It was a hell of a match. Hard hitting. Sheamus beat Jeff with a pinfall after a brogue kick. I liked it. I've seen Jeff and Sheamus wrestle so many times, I feel like, in the past year or so. And this one didn't really have a reason other than remind you that Sheamus is strong. I think we probably have a multi-man match at WrestleMania for the title, and Sheamus might be involved. Maybe Sheamus, Drew, Bobby. Maybe Miz is still around by then. I'm still not sure with the WWE title. does at WrestleMania. I'm not sure where they put it, how it works. I don't think they know, quite frankly. I think they made that Miz decision last night, and they're going to, maybe they have a plan now, but as they say, plans change, right? I don't know. It doesn't seem clear what the WWE title picture is right now, because Bobby's there and Miz is champion, but Braun's there too, and Drew's there, and Sheamus is still lurking, A lot of guys around the WWE title right now. Charlotte Flair backstage with her father, Ric Flair. Charlotte says she can't focus on her career with her dad around. Charlotte says it's not funny that Flair was dancing around last week and pretending that the baby was his. So now it is revealed. So Flair last week, when Lacey announced she was pregnant, Ric Flair was acting like he was potentially the father. Now, even if he isn't the father, you would understand that if Flair thinks he's the father, because he was acting like he thought he was the father. So if Flair thinks he's the father, that means in the story, Ric Flair has had sexual relations with Lacey Evans, which is like, whoa, right? But this week, Charlotte's like, I know that you were just pretending because there's no relationship there with Lacey. And Ric Flair even said, look, I never said that the baby was mine. I just see a lot of potential in Lacey as a wrestler. So they made sure, they are shifting it week after week. A few weeks ago, it seemed like Lacey and Flair were involved. Flair, was holding Lacey from behind. And then they're like, no, it's just showing her wrestling moves. But, and then a couple weeks ago, they cut a promo, and Flair's like, my relationship with Lacey is simply casual. And I think he meant to say platonic or just a coach-student relationship, but he said casual. And then Lacey kind of fixed it. She was like, yeah, I think he's cute, but he's just my coach. But then last week, Lacey gets pregnant. All bets are off. Lacey says, I'm pregnant. Flair's dancing around, acting like he thinks he's the father. And Lacey doesn't even say, oh, no, it's not you. She's like, oh, yeah, maybe. So last week you thought, okay, well, it seemed like it was just a coach-student relationship until Lacey announces she's pregnant. I mean, when they first started it, you thought, okay, Flair and Lacey. Lacey was, flirting with Flair, kissing him on the cheek after she beat Charlotte. It started out kind of sexual. Then it tapered off. Then it really heated up when Lacey announced she was pregnant and Flair thought he was the dad. Then it was like, okay, they're fucking. But now, Flair's like, no, I never said I was the father. I was just joking around. So they have not had sex, all right? Case closed. That's the end of the Ric Flair-Lacey Evans story. And it is clear to all of us watching, to those paying attention, and you could tell I'm paying really close attention to this nonsense. Flair and Lacey have not had sex, okay? It's okay. So this promo was really good, though. Flair says it's not his baby. I just saw potential in Lacey as a wrestler. Charlotte says, yeah, well, you see potential in a lot of blondes. She was just firing at him. And Flair says, look, I was just trying to expand the brand, be the man behind the Raw women's title, push the women's brand forward and help. And Charlotte starts crying. And Charlotte says, look, I know you're trying to take the spotlight, but you're doing it on my time. And you still want to be the nature boy, but, you're willing to do that on my time, and even if it kind of takes the spotlight away from me. And she says, look, I'm thankful for everything that you've given to me, but you need to let me be Charlotte Flair. And, I'm not doing it justice because the emotion in that promo is just a beautiful promo. You got to watch it. If you don't watch Raw, I would check out just that promo. That's all you need to see this week. That's really all you need to see of the show this week. If you're a wrestling fan, all right, you want to watch some wrestling, there's some good matches, some solid matches. But if you wanted to watch, good wrestling, I don't know if you need to watch any of these matches. Just watch a Bret Hart match. You want to watch some good wrestling? Go watch Bret Hart. All his matches are good. It doesn't really matter. Anything Bret Hart ever did was better than anything that was on Raw tonight. All right? I mean, that's a fact. Any Bret Hart match was better than any match that happened tonight on Raw. Sorry. It's just true. Not to say there were bad matches on Raw. I'm just saying you don't need to see them. If you're looking for a good wrestling match, you could just watch Bret. Or Jericho. Old Jericho. Like 2009 Jericho. Go watch Jericho and Shawn Michaels. That was awesome. But this promo you should watch. The Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair promo tonight. Fantastic. Promo of the night. Segment of the night. Not really clear what side of the fence Charlotte is on, though. Was she a heel in that promo tonight? Was she a heel? Or was she the babyface? It's not clear. Because she's, on the one hand making a good point, saying I want to be my own person, but on the other hand, she's making Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, sad. So I don't know. Was she the babyface? Was she the heel? Because it seemed like she was the heel walking away from Asuka. I mean, she's the reason why they lost. She kicked Asuka in the face. That wasn't Asuka's fault. And then, Charlotte just seemed frustrated with Asuka, but I think she was more frustrated with the whole situation. And she said she told Flair, I can't concentrate on my own career with you around and dealing with Lacey and all this stuff. You got to go away so that I can be me, so that I can do my own thing. But it seems like Charlotte was kind of also on a heel side where she wasn't caring for her tag team partner that she just kicked in the face. She kind of came off like a babyface, sympathetic in that promo with her dad. I got what she was saying, even though you kind of did feel bad for Ric Flair too. That's just kind of the family. It just felt real. No one felt like a good guy or a bad guy there. They just felt real. They both came off better, I thought, after that promo. Just felt like real family shit that they got off their chest. It happened to be on a promo on Raw. But in that instance with Asuka, she seemed like the heel. Anyways, I think she's going to go up against Asuka at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's title. I do see that in the future. Naomi and Lana beat the Sexy Muscle Friends. Double face buster on Mandy Rose from Naomi and Lana. Apparently, Naomi and Lana earned a tag team title shot a few weeks ago, so they will be facing Shayna and Nia at some point. AJ Styles hit Ricochet with the Styles Clash to get the 1-2-3 on Ricochet. Omos, AJ's gigantic bodyguard, hit Rico with a choke bomb after the match. I think that's the first time we've seen Omos go into the match after an AJ Styles match, or go into the ring, rather, after an AJ Styles match and do a wrestling move on somebody, right? I think they're starting to slowly bring him in and maybe have him wrestle at some point. I think Ricochet would be a pretty good opponent for him. Ricochet's, can bump around like crazy. He's a good wrestler. I think he could map it out. I think him and Omos could have a good, first match for Omos on WWE TV. Ricochet should challenge Omos. Decent match with AJ and Ricochet. You can't really go wrong with AJ and Ricochet. Like I said, good wrestling matches tonight on the show. I thought Bobby and Braun were the best match on the card. Me saying that anything Bret Hart did is better than anything you saw tonight, that's just me being a huge Bret Hart fan. I just think Bret Hart is the greatest wrestler to ever live. That's just me. But I thought we had really good wrestling. I think AJ Styles is one of the greatest wrestlers that we've ever seen, and he had a really good match with Ricochet. Just nothing on the line. Nothing on the line there. But I liked it. Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman. A lot on the line there. WWE title shot. I liked it. Good match. Naomi and Lana versus the Sexy Muscle Friends. Not the best match on the card. Sorry to say it. Sheamus, I wish it was the best match on the card. Imagine if it was at a crazy match, but, it wasn't. Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. Sheamus beating Jeff Hardy. Good match there. Nia and Shayna versus Asuka and Charlotte. Was all right. Not great. Damian Priest and Angel Garza was okay. Cedric and Shelton versus Lucha House Party was good. New Day versus Mason T-Bar was okay. Riddle and Morrison was really good. Some decent matches on Raw. Decent. And of course, I am seeing Bob Cote talking about Papa Shango casting a spell on Randy Orton. Yeah, that was a thing that we should talk about too, right? Randy Orton. So Randy Orton cuts a backstage promo about how, he can't win the Elimination Chamber. He was eliminated first in the Chamber last night. Kofi eliminated him with a roll-up there, and he's like, I can't focus on the WWE title. Here's another one that's distracted, right? Charlotte's distracted by her dad. Randy Orton's distracted not by The Fiend, but by Alexa Bliss. I don't know why he's distracted by Alexa Bliss. She had nothing to do with him losing in the Chamber last night. She cost him a match with Drew McIntyre, I think. Or was it Edge? It was Edge, right? When Alexa was sitting up. Yeah, she sat up on the corner. She showed up during Randy versus Edge a few weeks ago on Raw. Alexa Bliss shows up on the corner. She has black stuff dripping out of her mouth. I wondered what that black stuff was. I got a little crude. And then Randy took the spear from Edge and lost. So in that instance, Alexa cost him the match. I think there was another instance too. Wasn't he wrestling Drew McIntyre and Alexa's face showed up in all the Thunderdome screens and Randy got counted out? No, that wasn't Drew McIntyre. Or, yeah, it was. It was in the Gauntlet last week, right? Wasn't that in the Gauntlet match last week? So in those instances, Alexa has been distracting you, Randy, but not in the Elimination Chamber. You said you couldn't win the WWE title because Alexa Bliss was distracting you? I didn't see Alexa Bliss last night. I didn't see The Fiend. I didn't see anything. I didn't see Fire. I didn't see any of that shit. I saw Kofi Kingston rolling you up. Anyways, Randy's blaming Alexa Bliss on his loss in the Elimination Chamber. And then we cut to Alexa Bliss and her little promo from last week where she's doing some sort of seance. She's got the pentagram. She's got candles lit up. She's doing witchcraft. Fucking witchcraft. I can't believe I'm talking about fucking witchcraft. And then we cut back from Alexa's promo, and then Randy is coughing up the black stuff that Alexa had in her mouth a couple of weeks ago there during the Edge match. So Randy's coughing up black stuff out of his mouth. He's like coughing it up, and then he walks off screen, and that was that. Kind of looked like when Papa Shango cursed the Ultimate Warrior. I wondered if, Alexa Bliss loves the Fiend so much. He's a demon. Maybe that is what happens when you blow the Fiend. That's the black stuff, I'm thinking maybe that's what's happening with Randy. He's really in love with the Fiend, and that's what's going on. But the Fiend is burnt to a crisp, so I guess that doesn't work. Don't know what that black stuff is. Can't figure it out. Trying to figure it out. Can't figure it out. It's like, I don't know. Anyways, it's supposed to be some sort of curse on Randy. Randy's cursed. Cursed by the Fiend or Alexa or both or, whatever. It is so bad. Franco316 wants to know who had the worms in his mouth. That was the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman. Yeah. That was Raw tonight. The Randy Orton thing, not the best moment. You know that the Randy Fiend thing is not over. He burnt the Fiend alive on a pay-per-view months ago, and Alexa's been talking shit to him and doing all sorts of stuff ever since, right? So you know that the Randy Fiend thing is nowhere near over. There are rumors that they're going to wrestle at Mania. It's very likely. Probably going to be some sort of Firefly Funhouse bullshit like he did last year with John Cena that some people liked, but I don't know. Not people who I trust. I don't know. I thought it was really bad, really dumb. One of those cinematic matches. Not the best cinematic match of WrestleMania last year. I thought Taker's match with AJ was way better. That John Cena Fiend thing was not good. And Randy's going to do one with the Fiend probably at Mania this year. So you have that to look forward to. Of course, we can all remember Randy's match with Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. They've wrestled before at Mania when Bray was Bray, and that was awful. Remember that? They had the graphics on the ring, like the bugs. They had bugs on the ring. That was like the big scary thing. They had like a light show during the match. It was really bad. And the match itself was just god-awful. Neither of them are particularly captivating to watch wrestle. A little boring. A little on the boring side. Or as WWE likes to call it, methodical. I call it slow. And low impact. Right? That was Raw for Monday, February 22nd. I see we have a Boogeyman fan in the house. Doug Hepburn's son, Nick, loves the Boogeyman. I'm the Boogeyman, and I'm coming to get you. I like when he used to hit himself in the head with the clock. You know, he used to go, psh, hit himself in the head with that clock, and then the worms were really crazy, because those were shoot worms. Those were real worms. He put them in his mouth, he ate them up, and then he, like, spit them in his opponent's mouth and face and everything. I think he fed him to some opponents, too. It was really gross. That was legitimately disgusting. The Randy Black stuff coming out of his mouth is like, oh, yeah, okay. And it's even worse because we've seen the black stuff come out of Alexa's mouth, and it seemed to be something that she wanted to have happen. But with Randy, it's like this terrible experience. I guess Randy hasn't embraced the Fiend, so he's not on the dark side. And I'm trying to explain it in my mind. I'm trying to rationalize this nonsense. But, like, come on. We're talking about a grown man who's been cursed by a man that he burned alive and his little friend Alexa Bliss, who summoned some sort of demon to curse Randy. And how did they curse Randy? What was their curse of choice? Not to kill Randy, for Randy to be, engulfed in flames himself. Not for any of that. They want Randy to spit out black stuff from his mouth, which I'm sure will have no long-term effects on him. Like, what's going to happen to Randy next week? You know? He's going to be disturbed that he spat up some black stuff. Maybe you should go to a doctor and be like, hey, doctor, I spat up some black stuff on TV. What is this shit? Oh, Randy, you've been cursed by the Fiend. Of course. Like, it's so fucking stupid. It's really hard to watch some of this nonsense. It's so dumb. Randy is spitting up black stuff. This is the revenge for killing the Fiend. Alexa Bliss has mystical magic powers. Her best friend, her idol, the man that she idolizes literally as a god, some sort of evil deity that has taken her in. She is under his spell. He has been burnt alive, murdered, killed by burning by Randy Orton. And their big revenge is to make some black shit come out of his mouth. I don't know. Somebody burned up my god. I might try to do something a little bit, more sinister than just some black shit coming out of his mouth. Like, Alexa had the right idea a few weeks ago when she shot fireballs at Randy's face. That was a good idea. That made sense. An eye for an eye. Literally. Randy was, like, kind of blinded. In the moment, at least. And then he wore a mask to cover his hideous face for 1 week. And then he showed up with, like, kind of, like, makeup burn marks on his face. And then he showed up at the Rumble fully healed. How about you curse Randy so he doesn't have the ability to heal himself? Randy had a cut on his head tonight. You noticed the cut when he cut his promo. from the chamber last night, I guess. Or maybe that's a curse cut. Maybe Alexa cursed him and caused that cut somehow. Fucking stupid. Randy spitting up some black shit. Burn Randy alive. I mean, they're not going to do that. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. Yeah, that's it, AJ. He needs a better voodoo doctor. He needs Papa Shango. Except Papa Shango did the exact same shit to the Ultimate Warrior. Like, Papa Shango wasn't much better. The best curse Papa Shango ever did was make Ultimate Warrior, like... Was it black shit or was it green shit? I remember it being green. Did he threw it up too, right? It was like he was throwing it up. I can't show it to you. I want to watch Papa Shango. Papa Shango cursed Ultimate Warrior in 1992, and it scarred me. Yeah, he was like heaving. Yeah, Warrior like collapsed outside the ring, and he was acting like his stomach was like killing him, and Papa Shango, like, Warrior is like writhing in pain here, and Papa Shango's like chasing after him and doing a curse, and then Warrior's backstage on a gurney, and like he's sweating and he's writhing in pain and he's clutching his stomach, and it feels like Papa Shango's done some real shit to him, and now Warrior's just like puking. Oh, he's just puking. Where was the black shit? That was another time, right? I think that stuff just started pouring from his head. Warrior's cutting a promo with Mean Gene, and then there's like, yeah, it's like black blood just started pouring from Warrior's head out of nowhere, and he's like, what is this? Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So that's what Papa Shango did to Warrior. Much better cursing. He Warrior puked, but then there was another thing where Warrior was doing a promo with Mean Gene, and like the black blood started coming down from his hair. That was good. That's a curse, man. That's more impactful than Randy spitting up the black stuff tonight. And Warrior sold it way better, too. That tells you something. You know, Warrior sold that shit. People say, hey, Warrior didn't sell anything. He sold that Papa Shango curse like nothing else. Warrior sold that Papa Shango curse more than any move Hulk Hogan ever hit him with. And that's a fact, brother. Yeah, like Rudy Giuliani. Franco 316 bringing the heat. That's a good one. Didn't that happen to Rudy Giuliani too, where he had some shit leaking down his head, like some black shit? And people were saying he got cursed by Papa Shango. Oh, he probably did too. It happened to the Warrior. It happened to Rudy. But Randy just spat up some black shit. I don't know what that was. Black liquid, whatever. Demon seed, whatever you want to call it. It was, Randy didn't sell it like he was dying either. He didn't go, "Roar!" He didn't go, what is this? He was just like, "Roar!" And he just walked off the screen. He was like, "Roar! Roar!" And then he walked off the screen. Like, he barely sold it. It wasn't great. Good God Almighty. And Douglas Hepburn says, we can always watch the oldies and be 10 again. Only now we get to drink and swear when we watch it. Yeah. Or if you're AJ, I mean, you got to go back really old to the oldies for him. Because in the 90s, AJ was drinking and swearing. I'm kidding with you, AJ. Although I'm not, because you probably were, right? Like, you were of age in the 90s. Not like me. I was a child. AJ will be back with me on Thursday for Ringside Report MMA. We're going to be talking about MMA. UFC Vegas coming up. My man Cyril Gane taking on Jairzinho Rozenstruik coming up Saturday. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel so you get everything that we do. Not only do we do pro wrestling, we do mixed martial arts as well. I'll be on here with AJ and Freddie Thursday night, 8 p.m. to preview the UFC show on Saturday. And then on Saturday, we're going to do a little watch-along for you for that UFC fight night. Freddie will be here, I think, but AJ will definitely be here. My man Cyril Gann will be fighting. Magomed Ankalaev will be fighting as well, who I say is a future world champion at 205 pounds. Been saying that for a while. The main event is Cyril Gann, who we think is going to be a future heavyweight champion. He takes on Jairzinho. And then you got Magomed Ankalaev taking on Nikita Krylov in the co-main event. Good God almighty. It's going to be one hell of a smash-mouth UFC card on Saturday night. Johnny North and I will be back here Wednesday right after Dynamite. How about that? I'll be back here with the big man, Big Johnny, Wednesday night, 10 p.m. right after AEW Dynamite. Back here Thursday night, 8 p.m. for Ringside Report MMA. Back here again Friday night, 10 p.m. after SmackDown. And then back with you on Saturday night at, I believe, 8 p.m. for the UFC Vegas 20 watch-along. So a busy week here on the Ringside Report Network. We hope that you support the channel, support our sponsors. Go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code Ringside20 when you do. You get 20% off your order and free shipping. And don't forget to check out our friends over at Bet99. Go to bet99.com for all your wagering needs. When you use the promo code Ringside, you get a sign-up bonus of up to... Did I disappear there? Am I gone? I don't know what happened there. I think I disappeared. But you get a sign-up bonus when you use that promo code Ringside. They do a matching bonus up to $600 over at bet99.com. Support our sponsors, bet99.com, promo code Ringside. Become a member of the channel here on the YouTube channel. Become a member over at donate.ringsidereport.net. And you could buy our merch. Hey, look at that. I got merch. Buy some of the merch. This is a cool cup that we have. We got cups, we got t-shirts, we got masks, we got all sorts of stuff over at merch.ringsidereport.net. We're getting rave reviews on all the merch. Everybody that has bought stuff is coming back and telling me that they love it. They love the mask. They love the cup. They love the t-shirts. Everybody's loving the merch. So we really thank you for supporting and buying the merch and supporting the channel. It helps us continue to go and do all these shows. We're doing a lot more here on the Ringside Report Network, and it's thanks to you, the members. So we appreciate you. Merch.ringsidereport.net. Merch.ringsidereport.net is where you need to go for all of the merch. Big shout-out to our buddies here, our members. Craig Paquette, Douglas Hepburn, Patrick C. Hamilton. I don't want to forget any of you guys that I see here live in the chat. I think those are the members that I saw. Patrick, Doug, Craig. Might have seen a couple others. Rob, I think, was on before. Shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to everybody that is a member. We appreciate you. AJ, I love you. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you, everybody. This has been the Raw Recap, February 22nd, 2021.
Thank you and good night.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Ringside Report started on the radio, added podcasts, and moved to video in 2019. Our hosts are not just fans, but have in-depth knowledge of the subjects. Become a member of our YouTube channel now and become a recurring supporter of our work as we strive to continue to entertain you in these strange times. Pro wrestler Johnny Genesis North joins lifelong wrestling fan and aficionado Dave Simon to host our pro wrestling programming with in-depth coverage of the WWE, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Our flagship show, Wrestling Uncensored, is live every Friday right after WWE SmackDown. Here, you get a review of the week that was. You may not agree with our host. In fact, they often don't agree with each other. But you have an opportunity to chime in with your viewpoint in the chat rooms while live or in the comments section of YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook on the replay. Dave and Johnny also headline our coverage of major pro wrestling pay-per-views and breaking news. Dave Simon is joined by experienced jiu-jitsu fighters Fred Garcia and the ever-unpredictable AJ DeLesio, each Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern with Ringside Report MMA. They try and foresee what's next in the octagon and review, argue, and kibitz in a very friendly, irreverent manner. The three guys also team up to accompany you on all the major UFC pay-per-views with entertaining watch-alongs. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.